Hi everyone, Mitch from PickDogs.com back with the Puck Dogs. We got some major technical difficulties, but as always, we never quit. We just innovate. You know, it's like other people, it's like, well, we have an excuse for day off. I'm on vacation. My aunt's sick. You know, it's like, right, the old aunt sick. We haven't heard the aunt sick in a while. The sick aunt, those of you that are newer to the show or haven't been with us, you know, from the old site and everything, we go through writers, and I've been talking about like anyone that wants to join our team to email me and give me a lot of specifics, like, you know, what experience you have, what sports you cover, how much, how often you can write, what kind of money you're looking for, all those specifics. Mitch at pickdogs.com. We are hiring. Okay, so send me an email. But anyways, so everyone's like, oh man, Mitch must be a jerk to work for and all this stuff, but actually, I think most of the guys would say it's pretty much the opposite. I'm pretty much a pushover. I have like 3 or 4 steadfast rules, though, that I'm unswayable on. And, you know, it's like your warning is the day you're hired, you know. And one of those rules, it's probably even less than 4. It's probably like 2, right? But one of those rules is that if you're not coming in, right, if you can't write, you don't have to come in anywhere, but if you're not going to do your articles, you got to let us know ahead of time. Parties don't usually pop up out of thin air, okay? Vacations don't pop up out of thin air. All these things, they don't. You have time, let us know so we can cover. It's like just because you're not going to cover it doesn't mean we're not going to cover it. But it's like if we don't know to cover it, we can't do it. So I've gotten the excuse more than once, more than twice. I've gotten this excuse at least 4 times why they didn't contact us and let us know they weren't going to write. Sick aunt. I swear to God, 3 to 4 times, sick aunt. And Chris knows what my response is to these when we get the sick aunt or like any sick relative, dead grandmother, you know, any of those excuses as to why you can't text me and say, I can't write today, you know, 4 words, why you can't do that. She better have eaten your cell phone, man. That better have been what killed her. Or your computer. Because that's the only excuse that I'm unswayable, man. Unswayable. I am a prick about it, and I don't care. And that's why our sites are so successful. The other stuff is all, you know. I think that is the only rule. It might be the only one. I think it is the only one. It's like I keep trying to figure out what the other ones are, but I think that's the only one. Is that if you can't write, you got to let us know. But anyways, we got a full card here of... No, I am not affiliated with SBR in any way. Are you affiliated with SBR? No, I'm not affiliated with SBR. Are you kidding? We're stomping them on YouTube. We're kicking the crap out of them on YouTube. I think they're going into their. They might have tapped out in some respects. Rod was a fan of SBR. I think he still is. I think he still watches their videos if they show them, right?
They're doing a revamp of some sort because they're changing everything.
A revamp?
Yeah, they're doing a big revamp.
Is it called Mitch is kicking the crap out of us revamp? Is that what they're naming it?
Probably. That's what I'm thinking.
Mitch is beating us down to the point where we got to do something.
They've done something because they got rid of their biggest show, their biggest draw that we know of. Yesterday was the last show of it. So
what was that?
The Jimmy in the Bag show. Yesterday was the last show of it.
So
after
is Jimmy leaving, or he just has a new show?
He's moving from his place in Costa Rica to Toronto, Canada.
I spoke to Jimmy about a little while ago, asking him if he was leaving. I didn't like recruit him or anything, but I said if he was leaving to give me a call. I like him, but I haven't seen much of his stuff, but I know people do like him. I think he would be fun to have, but I don't know. He never got back to me, so. I guess the answer is no. But
it's okay. Get him in touch with me. We can meet up, have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, we don't quit that easy. But also, I knew he was already employed with SBR, so I didn't. It wasn't like I'm not going to poach somebody's people. It's like if they were leaving, if they were interested or something, that's a different story. I'm not going to go and poach SBR's guys. I mean. It's like that's whatever. I mean, there's other sites I would do that too, but not them. Let's just say there was a writing service out there that I poached one of our regular writers from, and let's just say they won't let me back. It's like, but I'll deposit the money up front. I'm sorry, you're no longer welcome as a customer. I got fired as a customer. It's like, you're poaching our writers. Well, maybe. I didn't poach your writers. I poached a writer. There's a difference. It's like, whatever, man. I don't care. I would poach him again if I had the chance. It wasn't Chris, but it's one of our other guys. And it's not Randy. It's not Chris. It's not Brett. It's not Peter. It's not... it's not Goran. It's not Liam. It's not these guys. I don't know. You guys can do the math and figure out that his name begins with an A and ends with a W. Anyways, let's get to today's card. We got a monster card, man. College basketball. Let's dig right into it. We got the 12 o'clock games. Michigan State. These two teams. I think that Michigan State to me is always the tougher team. Michigan's always kind of like the lighter team. Georgetown, DePaul, Auburn, LSU. LSU coming off of that loss to Vandy. Auburn, it's like the line dropped from 5.5 to 5. I didn't give this out as a premium or anything like that. I did a video, but I like Auburn a lot here. I do. I just think that what we've seen across the SEC and in general is when a team is hot, and they lose, especially on the road, they lose their next game on the road too, and they don't cover in that game either. And we've seen it a bunch this season, not just in the SEC, but across the board. But even Auburn, who's got the 2 losses, they lost at Alabama, then they got pounded at Florida, right? It's like both games on the road, back-to-back, and that's their only 2 losses this season. We've seen it a bunch. Butler, it happened to, right? It's happened to a bunch. Colorado, that Kansas game, right? I mean, whoa. I'm still sore from the Kansas-Colorado game. They beat Northern Iowa comes and beats them the next game out. But anyways, a lot of good games in there. Anything in that 12 o'clock time slot, Kansas, TCU, Miami, Florida State. I like Florida State in this one. Then we go to the 1 o'clockers. We'll just do the 12 and 1s because there's so many games here. Kentucky, Tennessee. I like the Cats to go into Rocky Top and beat the Vols again. Rod and I, we got all excited about the Kentucky game the other day, and I'm still excited about it. Like, it's like the Rupp Arena and all that stuff. It's like, I don't care, man. It's like, I generally, and Steve has known me for a long time, and normally if there's a very popular team out there, like the Cubs or the Red Sox or something like that, I'm always on the other side, right? I can't stand it. I'm the guy at Fenway Park that, they throw shoes at, I am that guy. You throw that shoe, you're out of here. Steve and I used to pay the ushers. Like back then, bleacher seats were $3. We used to pay the ushers, like we would, like 5 of us would go to a game, and like, a bunch of the guys are from Boston, and Steve and I are like, rooting against whoever they're playing. And it's like, people just throwing stuff at us the whole game. And like, we knew all the guys that we would give the money to, the giant, Boston, Fenway Park, ushers, and it's like they would like be our protectors, and it's like they see an ice cream sandwich flying at me, they would like try and spot the guy. But one day they started throwing shoes at us, and it's like all I hear from like a screaming from the back is like, "You throw that shoe, you're out of here!" It was like it was classic. It was like people are doing the throw that shoe chant in the bleachers at Fenway Park on like a Saturday afternoon. It's like Eddie Murray had a home run. We were dead center field. Eddie Murray had a home run like 10 rows over my head. It was one of the best home runs I've ever seen off Bruce Hurst. It was like Bruce Hurst was like one of those guys that like when he pitched, it was like a gem, but it was always like he always gave up 2 or 3 runs a game, and they were always tape measure shot home runs. So it was like bombs. So like the real hitters or the real home run hitters would just take him deep. Like Gorman Thomas would just crush him. Dave Kingman and Eddie Murray, who I think got a hit every single time he was up against Bruce Hurst. And a lot of other pitchers for that matter,
It's true.
But The crap. It's like I've seen the Kingman home runs there and the Gorman Toss, but that Eddie Murray home run it sounded like a shotgun went off when he hit that ball. It was just like a hitter like that hits with power, and he's like kind of like a Rod Carew, right? That hit with power, but it was like, man, I mean, when he made just full, clean contact, it was like, oh my God. It's like people ducked when that ball came flying into the bleachers. Anyways, back to college hoops, man. What are you guys thinking here? I like of these early games. I like Sparty, but I like Auburn a lot here, and Florida State against Miami. I did not like the way Miami's been playing, and Florida State has been sending a message in some of these other games. I know they only won by 4 at Miami, but I think they beat them here. I also like Kentucky at Tennessee. I think the Vols just don't have it this year. Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I love Kentucky here, especially on the road. 2-point, love that. I love Kansas against TCU, and Auburn definitely at home against LSU. I mean, Auburn is very tough playing home, so 5-point swing there. I love that game.
Bruce Pearl, you think, made a couple phone calls here to make sure everything's in order. Rod, what are you thinking for these early games?
I like Michigan State. I think they beat Michigan today. I like Kansas as well. Give me Kansas. Come on. I like Kentucky today. And I also like DePaul. Give me DePaul. Those are the ones I'm looking at on the early ones.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm on the other side on a couple of those. I like Georgetown laying the 4.5. I just don't like the way DePaul's been playing lately. I know they're still a good team, but they're not winning games, not covering games. I'll take Georgetown. I like Michigan plus the 2.5. I kind of circle back to the Auburn-Alabama game where, Alabama ended Auburn's undefeated run. This is just a same kind of rivalry game, and the home dominance for the Big Ten schools has been the theme this year. So I'll take a shot with Michigan plus the 2.5. And I'm on Kentucky as well, laying the 2.5 against Tennessee. I just think the Wildcats on a low line are getting points or a play they always have to take. So I'll take Kentucky here, laying the 2.5.
I'll take tape measure home runs hit off Bruce Hurst for 100. Alex, who is Dave Parker? I saw him hit a laser. I mean, a laser. It was a line drive, if it was Tony Gwynn or something, it would have been like a single into right field. It was a laser. I mean, this thing missed the bleachers. It went straight into the right field stands. Like no pesky pole here, man. This thing was like it was like a rocket got launched. Another one that I saw was at spring training where Fred McGriff hit one that I think it's still going. Oh man! I mean, he got up there. He hit a home run. He took 2 swings the whole game. Both tape measure home runs off Bruce Hurst in spring training. It was like, oh my God! It was like when he was with the Braves. It's like, oh my God! Anyways, early puck action. We got the Winnipeg Jets up against Ottawa, Boston, Arizona. We'll throw in this hockey night in Canada, Montreal, Toronto, and Edmonton, Cashville. What do you guys think of these 4 games? Rod, quickly.
This Ottawa team hasn't been playing so good. Give me the Jets at home here. I like Jets to win in regulation. Austin on the puck line. Coyotes are like 1-7 their last 8 games. They just haven't been playing so good. Give me Boston on the puck line. And the Leafs look actually half decent. They look like that trade might have actually brought them together as a team. So give me the Leafs here in Montreal. And give me Nashville and Edmonton. Nashville's 7-1 their last 8 in Edmonton. And this Edmonton team, like I said, they have 2 players, and so they go on these slumps. They'll win a few and then lose a bunch, and they're on the lose a bunch train right now. So give me Nashville here at Edmonton.
Chris, any thoughts on these games?
I'm on pretty much the same thing. I have Winnipeg in regulation too. I just think this marquee game's a chance for Ottawa to get exposed on national television. I like Boston laying the 1.5 against Arizona as well. Arizona's just got a ton of defensive issues right now.
Are you betting these games? Let's do the ones you're betting because we got a big long show. Let's go to the.
Cool.
We're gonna call it games we're betting. It's like instead of going through every single game.
Okay. I like Boston on the puck line against Arizona, and I like Nashville -110 against Edmonton.
I'm just not a hockey fan. I'm bored. Anyways, man, we'll move on. It's like, most days I can do it and sit here and suck it up. I'll even take out the penny and flip it, but it's like we got too much.
Fair enough.
Too much hockey.
Too much hockey, man. It's like I got my hybrid out today. It's like it's been that kind of week. Anyways, let's see what we got. Back to some college hoops. We got such a big card. And that's why I'm just glossing over and I'm picking out the big games. But if there's other games in these time slots you like, let me know. I think that South Carolina Texas A&M is a pretty interesting game too because South Carolina lit them up at Texas A&M. That was my graphics game of the year. South Carolina hasn't hit this many 3 points since the Truman administration. So you're gonna add Texas A&M.
I don't have start times in front of me.
Oh, well, I'm reading them off. Purdue, Indiana. Dayton, St. Louis, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Pitt, Georgia Tech. So these Princeton, Cornell, and stuff, I don't know if they're going to play these games. They got snowed out, I guess, yesterday. Was snow in there or something?
They're supposed to get rescheduled for tomorrow.
Hey, Ivy Sunday basketball doesn't get any better than that. Villanova, Seton Hall. Arkansas, Missouri. Let's stop at those. Any of these games do it for you guys? I kind of think that this Indiana-Purdue is interesting. Indiana's played well at home. Purdue's been lousy on the road. It's one of those battle Indiana games. Florida at Ole Miss. Ole Miss getting the 3 points. I do not like the way the Gators have played this season. Ole Miss has been terrible, but this is probably a game where they rise to the occasion. They're getting 3 points. It was 2.5. Love fading the public. 67% public sharps world on Florida in this game. Oklahoma, West Virginia. This looks like a 1 point game to me. I like West Virginia to win. It's going to be one of those, one of those games. I can just tell. And, anyone feel like betting against Dayton these days? Not me. Anyway, Steve, what are you thinking?
Seton Hall, Villanova. Villanova at home here. I think Villanova starts to crank it up here. Seton Hall's played very well, don't get me wrong, but I love Villanova here. Love West Virginia going to Oklahoma. 2.5 points here. I'll take West Virginia all day long. Love Dayton. I mean, Dayton's just been playing really good basketball. It's a 13-point spread, but I'll take Dayton here all the way to
number 6 in the country. Dayton is 6.
That's right.
Michigan State is 14.
Right.
It's like so. That's and where's Kansas at? Let's see. I don't really follow the rankings too much, but Kansas is 3. They beat Dayton, so I'll give that to them. That I just wanted to see. I like that they beat them and they beat them. As far as rankings go, I don't always believe that that's the better team, but I always think if you beat somebody, you should be ranked ahead of them if you have a similar record. And Dayton and Kansas is ranked ahead of Dayton, so there you have it. But I'm on the other side of that Villanova Seton Hall. I'm on Seton Hall all day with the points. I think these are both potential Final Four teams. I love the way Seton Hall is playing right now. I like the way Villanova's playing too. But it's like this is a 1-2 point game. Today is that day, where the dogs lose and cover. Today is that day. And it's like look at the schedule. Rod?
Out of those ones, I really like this Texas A&M +8 at South Carolina.
Revenge.
South Carolina 3-7 ATS, their last 10 at home. So they just haven't covered at home. And Texas A&M 7-3 ATS, the last 10. They're playing the better basketball. I think South Carolina probably still wins, but closer than 8.
They smoked them in that first game. I'm telling you, it was my TV graphics game of the year, man. It was like every time it was like, oh man, it's like I can't believe Texas A&M is playing this. South Carolina hasn't had a perfect game at the free throw line since 1924. It's like largest margin of largest lead for South Carolina in 78 years. It's like the graphics are just coming across the screen. It's like I'm done. It's like I'm just even Sam is telling me to change the channel. Chris, what are you looking at in these games?
Yeah, the three I was looking at for these first time slot. I like Indiana laying the 2.5 against Purdue. I just don't like the way Purdue's been playing on the road, and I like Indiana at home. Again, Big Ten home dominance. I like Seton Hall plus the 3.5 against Villanova. I just think Seton Hall's been playing really well on the road. And I think this is almost a replica of what we saw with Villanova. And was it Butler the other night, or it was just a back and forth?
That was Villanova Butler. Villanova Butler.
Yeah, so it's just like back and forth, right to the very end.
Game of the year so far, I think. One of the top 10 games of the year.
It's a good game.
Yeah, and I also like Arkansas laying the 1 point against Missouri. Missouri's just terrible. Terrible against the number. And all I have to do is lay a point. Yeah, I'll take Arkansas all day here.
Missouri's miserable, man. 1-9 against the spread in their last 10 games is what Chris is referring to. Just miserable. So we'll carry on for a few more time slots here, and then we'll switch back to NHL and bring it home there. But Penn State -6 against Michigan. Or Minnesota. The Gophers. This is the Beano Cook game. Then we've got the Texas versus Texas Tech. Everyone knows how I feel about Shaka Smart these days. I'm all in on Texas Tech in this game. Pushing my chips right into the middle of the table. Louisville up against Virginia. Louisville's been sluggish in the first 3 quarters of these games. This is that type of game where, man, this could be a 4-point game. Get 7.5 with the team that plays defense like Virginia and a team that's been as sluggish as Louisville. Let's see what else we got. Florida A&M against Howard. 4-0 at home for the Rattlers. They played one of the toughest out-of-conference schedules that you'll see. Florida A&M is the best 7-13 team in the nation. I'm gonna make a stand on that. Let's see, a lot of these under-the-radar games in these time slots. And let's see, we'll go all the way. Duke, North Carolina at 6. That game is 7.5 points. It's at the Dean Dome. Colorado, Stanford. Don't love the way Stanford is playing. Colorado's been laying some gigantic numbers here, right? I mean, crazy numbers. They're ranked 24th in the country at 18-5. There's a reason at 18-5 they're only ranked 24th in the country. They can beat these teams, but I mean, the expectation is sky high. And then Baylor, Oklahoma State, 12.5. Creighton, St. John's. St. John's seems to have fallen apart in Big East play. Georgia, Alabama. Alabama, a dog in this one. Both these teams 12-10. Iowa, Nebraska. That's good for now. Steve, any of these games or anything else in these time slots? There's a lot of games today.
Oh yes, I mean North Carolina just stinks this year. Even though Cole Anthony's back, Duke, I'll take the 7.5 all day long there. St. John's going to Creighton. Creighton's laying 9 points. I'll take the Johnnies on the road here. I like that. Louisville, listen, they're home, top 10 team, top 5 team, top 3 team. I'll take Louisville laying 7.5. I like those 3.
How about you, Rod?
Yeah, I'm going the other way out. St. John's. Give me Creighton. I think they win by 10. St. John's looks like they've checked out. And I like Louisville to cover that number today. Give me Louisville.
Creighton's good, man. Creighton is really good. Look, I like Virginia in that Louisville game. I just don't. It's like Chris Mack. It's like he coaches his teams to keep the games close. Like even though they could blow them out, it's like we're winning by too much. It's like, come on, It's like have a hot dog. What we'll do is it's kind of like the last inning of the Bad News Bears World Series game. It's like, okay, Ogilvy, you're in. It's like that doesn't even make sense. Some of these moves that he makes. I don't know, Chris. What do you think?
Yeah, the 3 I kind of like in this time. So I like Texas Tech laying 3 points against Texas. you talked me into fading Shaka Smart, and it's paid off more often than it hasn't. So I like Texas Tech here.
But we're getting into Shaka time, so it's like we're gonna have to pivot soon. But it's because it's like it turns March. I mean, I know it's February. It's like whatever. So it's getting to that point. But we know we never fade Shaka Smart in March. Never.
No.
Never.
That's why I take advantage of it while I still can.
Right. And last year, even we went out on the high note. He was getting 8. They covered. They lost. But it was like we couldn't bet him again because they were done. But it was like we went out on a cover.
Yeah. I also like South Dakota State laying the 8 points against Omaha.
Oh, they're gonna light them up. They're gonna light them up, man. You talk about a team that plays well in the late part of the season. Jackrabbits, man, all day. It's like all day. It's like this is one of our teams, over the years, has been the Jackrabbits, man. It's like the loudest moment I ever was in a sports book that I ever experienced is when South Dakota State hit that last second shot against Texas to beat them. The Westgate Sportsbook literally shook. There's probably 10,000 people in there. Probably more people in that sportsbook and in the theater at Westgate than there were at the game.
And the other one I like, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to go with North Carolina plus 7.5 against Duke. I just think North Carolina, they held their own against Florida State, and I know Florida State not maybe at the same level as Duke, but I think they match up pretty well. I think North Carolina can hold their own on the boards. I could just see them getting up for this game. And all I saw on ESPN was the graphic. Each team's won 50 games on the last 100, and they've scored the same amount of points. I think it's going to be a close game, so I'll take North Carolina plus 7.5.
You're a foolish man. Anyways,
I know I am. I've been foolish. I've been foolish before, so it doesn't bother me too much.
I'm telling you, the 7.5 in North Carolina. Take your money, slide it up just a little bit to number 735. Okay, Austin P plus the 6.5 against Belmont.
Thank you later.
At least thank me later.
Thank you later.
We also have, so aside from the thank me laters, the other one that we have is the back patters in the Facebook group. The guys that I told you Belmont was gonna and the thing is Jesse, who's been seriously a fan of ours since way back in the day. He's all mad at me now because he said, I hope you joined me on this Bucks pick. It was the Bucks were playing the Sixers at home. It's the world was on the freaking Bucks. It was yeah, we only bet the Bucks because you said to pick it. It's I was on it. Both puck dogs were on it. Screw us, right? It's because it's Jesse. He's all mad at me. He's in a huff. It's it usually takes him about 3 weeks to recover from something like this. We'll see if he doesn't. I'll email him and we'll make it right. We'll give him.
I was following that whole chain, and I could hear your voice. And I'm just oh man, I'm at the point now where I can hear tone through it.
Well, it's I went 5-0 in the NBA that day. It's not like you hear me in there. I hope you tailed me because I told you I was going to. It's oh man, it's like Dusty Rhodes, wrestler. I beat him with my lid on. I beat him. Jack Briscoe.
Son of a plumber.
The dream. The tower of power. Too sweet to be sour. The man of the hour. The American dream, Dusty Rhodes. I grew up with Dusty. Stardust himself. Dusty Rhodes. I like the way Dusty put on 10 to 15 pounds every 3 months. It's somehow it's
just to fit into that black the black leotard with the yellow polka dots.
Oh yeah, well this was back in the day when Dusty had the star. He used to have the star on his trunks. Yeah, and me and my friend Mark used to go to wrestling almost every Wednesday at Miami Beach Convention Center. We'd always look at each other when Dusty came into the ring and be like, does he look fatter this week? It's somehow we used to also, so true story, after the matches are over, and everyone's walking out, we used to get into the ring and wrestle. They threw us out like every week, like the ushers, they knew us. We also would grab the microphone and start talking. Like they'd leave it on, it's like in the middle, thanks everybody for joining us at Miami Beach Convention Center. We got a great card next week. It's like, and we so like everyone would leave. They would leave the mic. It comes from the ceiling. They'd leave it in the floor. We'd get in the ring, like he would whip me, or I'd whip it into the turnbuckle, do this. And then, of course, I have my move. I beg for mercy. I always love the guys that beg for mercy. It's like Ric Flair's a beg for mercy guy. It's like you beg for mercy, and then the guy comes in. It's like everyone's like, no, 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 no. And then the boot to the midsection. Eye poke. It's like, all right, man. Too much fun. We'll go to NHL. Let's just bring it home. We got 6 more games here, 8 more games, right? Tampa, New York Islanders. Spread knowledge likes the Islanders here. Says there's some value. Pitt, Florida, Washington, Philly, LA, New Jersey. Let's just do these 4. You guys see any meat on the bone there that you're betting?
The only game that I'm really betting out of that, I like Washington on the puck line against Philadelphia. I just didn't like the way Philly looked against New Jersey, losing 5-0 at home, where they've been playing their best all season. Washington's just on a tear right now, so I'll take Washington on the puck line.
Yeah, I like that one too. Give me Washington on the puck line. Avs coming into Columbus. Give me the Avalanche here on the puck line. They've just been rolling the puck line lately. Columbus played last night. I think the Avs come in there and win like 4-2. I also like the Penguins here in Florida. Give me the Penguins on the puck line. Give me the Blues at home here. I think this is a good spot for the Blues to bounce back and beat Dallas. Blues on the puck line. And I see Dallas is 0-4 the last 4 in St. Louis. I like Vegas tonight. I really think they beat up. Vegas is looking like they're going to go on a little run here. I love that. I bet that already. Vegas,
how about the Islanders? Do you think the Islanders have any chance here? I like them because spread knowledge likes them.
Yeah, I wrote that game and I took the Islanders. I just think there's too much value to pass on. I mean, it's not like Tampa. I think Tampa Bay, the only value is playing them on the puck line. They haven't been a great puck line team at home this season.
I mean, we're in February, and this is when Tampa Bay's at their chokiest, right? Like, as soon as we get into February, March, playoffs, right? Choke fest. So it's like, I don't know, 2-1.
I think the Islanders plus 1.5 is good. I can easily see that as a 1-goal game. Just like the Ducks last night in the Leafs, these games are going to be a lot closer. So chasing a puck line sometimes might not be so good. Sometimes probably better. I'll say for 2.
Yeah.
So did you do yours, Chris? Or did Rod just?
I can get a couple more for the last 4. I'm on the other side. I like Columbus plus 110 against Colorado. I know Columbus is on a back-to-back against Colorado, but the way the goaltending's been playing is just insane. And they picked up points in 10 straight games. I'll take a shot with Columbus here just based on recent form. And I also like St. Louis in regulation against Dallas. It's like Rod said, Dallas lost their last 4 trips. Dallas just had to battle Minnesota last night. I think they'll be able to hang with St. Louis here, so I'll take St. Louis in regulation.
We got Utah, Cal, Syracuse, Wake Forest, Xavier, Providence. Ed Cooley has already begun coaching for this game. Got Iowa State, Kansas State, Mississippi State, Vandy. Rod, 16 points in this one. 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions just to get the push. We got Rod are anti-Vandy. They stink. They stink. I don't care what the point spread is. I know they won last game against LSU. I don't care. I'm fading Vandy. I just enjoy it. I can't help myself. It's like, Vandy. It's like, but they're playing against the high squad. They're playing against
the seniors. I don't care.
They're playing against one of those schools that we never heard of. It's like I don't care. I'm taking Florida A&M if they're playing Vandy. I don't care. Howard.
They're playing. Just put 5 pylons on the court. I don't care.
I don't care. Arizona State, USC. Arizona State's favored in this one. I love the way the Pac-12 schedules, right? It's like if you play Oregon, at Oregon, you play them on a Thursday, and then Saturday, you play Oregon State. You play USC on Thursday, you play UCLA on Saturday if you're on the road team. And that's just, they got it right. It's kind of like you don't have to travel back and forth and all over the place. It's like, that's why in the Pac-12, teams often play, if you're a trend watcher, one of the trends that you don't see a lot is, in really any sport, and is they are X and X after 3 or more consecutive home games. X and X after 3 or more consecutive road games. Because the Pac-12, it happens. It's the only conference that has scheduling right. You would think that the Big 12 would think about it, but it's like they wouldn't, because like they're starting to spread out, and so is the Big 10. They're starting to get bigger. So but anyways, USC. I can't believe they're dog against Arizona State. I mean that's a money line, right? And Arizona against UCLA. I mean, Mick Cronin and Sean Miller hate each other back from the old days. I mean, you got Cincinnati Xavier all over again here, right? And and Sean Miller at Xavier had a lot more success than I think he really had at Arizona. And Arizona State or Oregon State, Oregon. I know Oregon's great this year, ranked 15th in the country, and really, their 5 losses, they don't have a really horrible loss in the bunch of them, but they're going to win at Oregon State? No way. No way. No chance. 0 chance. So money line USC, money line Oregon State for me in that parlay. Steve, what are you looking at in these late games? Also, St. Mary's against Gonzaga. Yeah, right. 5.5. It's down from 6 to 5.5. They're gonna kill them, Gonzaga. They're gonna kill them. They're gonna chew them up and spit them out. I mean, normally it's like, hey, there's a reason they play the game. There's no reason to play this game. Just trust me on this one. Okay? Thank me later. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I love Gonzaga, I love Arizona against UCLA, and actually San Diego State, only undefeated team playing Air Force, 12 points. Give me San Diego State.
Yeah, Air Force used to be really tough at home, but I'll tell you what, San Diego State is just tough everywhere. And they are just they could. I mean, we haven't had an undefeated team in a long time, and they have a chance. They're not getting a lot of respect. They're ranked 4th, so they're in between Kansas and Dayton in those rankings. And they start to look at these rankings, and it's like, man, Baylor 1, Kansas 3, Dayton 5, San Diego State 4. And I mean, so Seton Hall and Villanovas of the world that are hot right now, and Butler, right? 3 Big East teams that all could make the Final Four. I mean, this is going to be one of the toughest tournaments ever. I really think that this will be one of the toughest tournaments there's ever been. One of the most competitive tournaments. And I know we saw a 16 beat a 1 2 years ago, but this is going to be. I always say that people are always like, "Do you have any advice on betting on my bracket?" And I rarely have good advice on the bracket. And I'm not a good bracket person. I have won twice the bracket, the big one against all the handicappers out there. I've won it twice. But the thing is that. And the only reason I won it twice, disclaimer, whatever, confession, is because I won it the years that VCU and Butler made runs. Those are the years that I won it. Is when Butler made the run to the finals, both times. But because nobody else even knew who they were back then, right? So it's like I knew them, and I had Butler going further than everybody else, and then you have Kentucky beating number 3 or 4 Kentucky beating an overranked Ohio State team or something, right? And it's like you're everyone's gone, Everyone's basically you win because there's nobody else left standing. But I just think that this year the brackets are just. It's like I always say to everyone when you're betting the NCAA tournament, if you just start with all dogs in every game, and then try and talk yourself off a couple of them if you need to. But generally, if you bet all dogs in the NCAA tournament, you do at least in the first 2 rounds. I mean, after that, it kind of levels out after the first round. It kind of starts to level out and favorites do start to come in more. But really, that first round, if you just bet all dogs in the first round, you've won, I think, every single year. You've done really, really well. Steve, Rod, what do you think of these games? Do you like St. Mary's here or Vandy or something?
I'm on. Give me the Zags. I think they beat up St. Mary's. I love USC as well. Give me USC plus the points. Arizona State worst D in the Pac-12. Well, for points a game.
Yeah, but they have two real veterans on that team that can play. I don't think they're the worst team in the Pac-12. They're way better.
Worst D.
Worst
defense. They're giving up the most points.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
that I believe, because the 2 guys that they have that are the veterans, they're the guys that are injured on defense but seem to be fine on offense, right? It's like when they're on defense, they're limping, and then when they're on offense, all of a sudden they're fine. Steve has a son, so he probably understands the injured on defense, fine to play offense principle pretty well. It's like,
I don't believe it.
it's probably very common in that age group.
Extremely.
It's like you were fine.
Definitely on Mississippi State here. Vandy just stinks. And I'm going to take Providence. Give me Providence plus 4. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of Providence on the money line. I think Providence is just a better D here, and I think they can hold Xavier down and get a win.
I like Providence too in that one. I think it's going to be a dogfight to the end. I think with the points, they're great. Without them, it might be a little tougher. I would throw them in a money line parlay, especially if I was round robin, because Ed Cooley, man, he could be coach of the year. He's got to be up there, right? I mean, I vote for him every year, right? That's why they don't let me vote. But I just think he just always is like, he's kind of like a better version of Tom Izzo, right? He's kind of just better at it. At least as far, I mean, the drama side. I'm not saying he's a better coach than Tom Izzo. I'm just saying the drama side, because Izzo is like, he's just not even believable anymore, But Ed Cooley, he always feels that he's been slighted in some way. It's like he always feels slighted, and a lot of times he has been, But Tom Izzo just whines about like the ticky tack stuff now, so it's too much, But Ed Cooley always feels like they've been slighted, in some way, and they have been in a lot of these instances. This happened. Chris, what are you thinking here? You like Vandy against Mississippi State or what?
No, I like. So I'll go back to the 8 o'clock. I actually like Indiana State -4 against Illinois State. Illinois State's just been the worst team in the Missouri Valley.
They're terrible this year. I mean, how about we always knew that Illinois State, they got the pants, right? They got the pants, but it's like I don't know what the hell they're doing this year. It's like and anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about. They have like those red stripes, like the thick red stripes on the pants. It's like they got the pants.
I mean, Indiana State just slapped the taste out of Loyola's mouth last time. I think they held like 39 points or something like that.
They are good, man. Sycamores.
I like Indiana State here. I like San Francisco plus 9.5 against BYU. I just think San Francisco needs this game to sort of make a statement down the stretch that they're not going anywhere. They're going to try to hang around.
Oh, they're not going anywhere. I'll tell you that. They're going nowhere.
Yeah, no, fair
The Dons, I think, are of all the teams like over the last 5 years or 10 years, the Dons have been the biggest pretenders probably in the nation. Where it's like they act like they're going to be good like for a couple games, and then it's like they're laying 6, they win by 4, they miss like 6 free throws down in the last minute, right? It's like and then that type of mentality cost them when they're playing the Gonzagas, the BYUs, and the St. Mary's of the world, the teams that they need to beat if they want to be next level.
Yeah, Yeah, I like Pacific laying 3.5 against Pepperdine. I just think Pacific has.
Did Pepperdine change their names? Did they change their names? Are they now or who was it? Long Beach State, right? Is it them that changed their name? It's one of these teams changed their freaking name. It's like the Long Beach State used to be the 49ers. Now they're the Beaches?
Yeah, now they're the Long Beach State Beach.
Yo, Beaches. What is that, man? It's like
No, they didn't even change to Beaches. It just went Beach.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Yo, Beach, get over here, Beach. It's like, what is that? I mean, so wrong. It's so wrong, man. You know what? We're gonna boycott them.
Well, the only reason I do that is because I thought that when I was uploading the articles, I thought that maybe something had changed or whatever. So I kept changing it back to 4 days. And then I look and I'm like, it's like, oh yeah, no, they actually changed to Beach. I'm like, huh. Okay.
I love the way, I mean, the Chargers, I still say San Diego sometimes, but it's like, and you know, it'll be the same way with the Raiders and everything. It just happens almost naturally, and it's still happening. Even the Rams, I've called them the St. Louis Rams still, but you know, they didn't even tell anybody. You know, it's like they just didn't even tell anybody. I mean, I never heard anything about this, that they were changing their name to Beaches. Maybe I missed it. And is it the movie or the beach? You know, is that what is this? The Beaches? It's like, that doesn't even make any sense. It's like
awful.
It's awful.
Now the jersey is supposed to look a little bit more clean. I don't know about you.
What does the mascot look like for something like that? I don't even understand. I don't get it, man. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's so wrong.
Like a dude walking around in a Speedo. I don't know. I like Boise State plus the 9.5 against Utah State. I just think it's too many points. I just think Utah State's a good team. They're good at home, but I just think Boise State's experience, they can hang with Utah State here. And I'm on USC as well against Arizona State. I just think this is a game that USC is the better team here, getting 3.5 points. I'll take it all day.
I haven't been following the bracketology, but is Utah State in or out? Anyone know? Because they are like, I mean, the Mountain West. How many teams are going to get it? So I have it up here. I googled it. So there. Oh crap! I hit something. It went to a full screen commercial. So let's see. I don't know if Utah State is in, man. I really don't. Last 4 in, Xavier. Last 4 out, Memphis, VCU, Minnesota. Next 4. They're in the next 4 out, Utah State. So they've played themselves out of the NCAA tournament. I mean, they were shooing. I mean, look who's in the next 4 out. So it's first 4 out, Memphis, VCU, Minnesota, East Tennessee State. Next 4 out, Utah State, NC State, Liberty, and Texas. It's like NC State would beat the dog crap out of Texas. I'll tell you that much. It wouldn't even be a game. If it was a fight, they would stop it. It's like, you know, I don't see it, man. Last 4 in, Oklahoma, Mississippi State, totally should be in. Virginia, Xavier, last 4 in. I would have those 4 as last 4 in. I think VCU could probably replace Xavier, maybe, or there. All right, let's get to NBA. We're over time here, so we got about a couple minutes to spend on NBA. Chris, anything in the NBA that's jumping off the page at you?
2 games. I like the Clippers laying 7.5 against Minnesota. Minnesota's terrible, and I like the Pelicans +2 on the playing Indiana on a back-to-back. I think Indiana battled hard against Toronto last night. There's going to be some tired legs here for this one, and New Orleans is starting to click. So I like New Orleans.
So you'll bet North Carolina against Duke, but 5-19-1 against the spread at home here for the T-Wolves just doesn't do it for you? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Yeah, believe it or not, I think I'm going to have to stay away from that.
They got D'Angelo Russell, man. They got him.
Yeah.
They got him. It's like, I mean, I still don't understand that trade deadline. I still don't get it. It's like, we'll give you D'Angelo Russell for Wiggins and a bunch of other things like also behind the scenes. No, we can't do it. How about if we give you Andrew Wiggins for D'Angelo Russell and a couple of... Okay. It's like, what was that? It's like, Did they just want an extra day? I don't even understand it, man. This is like I negotiate with people like this, so I know exactly what it's like. It's just like, how about? It's like, I mean, I can't even tell you what the negotiations have been. That have been exactly like that, you know. All right, but Steve, you see anything here in the NBA? I like the Clippers also, man. It's like I love betting against Minnesota at home. How about this Lakers Warriors game, man? The Warriors right now they have the Timberwolves. They got in that trade. They got their 2021 first round pick. It's protected if it's a first three, but I mean it could be the four, and it's like the way Minnesota can easily play right into that number four. I mean they're going to have a high pick this year. They're going to have a high pick, you know, plus all these guys. Oh man, this is a force. But that's a big game tonight. I love the Knickerbockers tonight against the Pistons. I love them. Love the Knicks here. Love them.
Love the Bucks laying 9, Magic, and I like the Raptors. The Nets are going up to Toronto. I'll take the Raptors 7 points at home.
These guys both were off the Raptors yesterday. I was on them, and these guys said, screw it. Rod, who do you like here?
I like the Spurs here over the Kings. I like the Bucks. Give me the Raptors. I like the Pelicans, and I like the Clippers.
All right, we're gonna do our wrap. We're gonna wrap it up here. Chris, man, good show, long show. Maybe we should do 2 shows a day on Saturdays. Break it up in half. You know, do one now and do one at like 4 or 5 o'clock or something.
That would be good.
Yeah, maybe we should do that from here on in for until through March Madness, right? Because it's too much, you know. It's just a lot. It's a lot of information, and it's like if everyone can make it for the late show, great. And if only a couple of us make it, it's great too, you know. But it's like I think this way because I get a little sidetracked sometimes. Chris, what do you got to say here? Recap.
All right, so for the NHL games that I'm betting today, I like Boston minus 1.5 against Arizona, Nashville minus 110 against Edmonton. Take a shot with the Islanders plus 180 against Tampa Bay. I like Washington minus 1.5 against Philadelphia, Columbus plus 110 against Colorado, St. Louis in regulation against Dallas, and Vancouver minus 135 against Calgary. NHL parlay, I'll take Boston and Washington both minus 1.5 on the puck line. College hoops, the games I'm playing, I like Kentucky minus 2.5 against Tennessee, Seton Hall plus 3.5 against Villanova, Arkansas minus 1 against Missouri, Texas Tech minus 3 against Texas, South Dakota State minus 8 against Omaha, North Carolina plus 7.5 against Duke, Indiana State minus 4 against Illinois State, Pacific minus 3.5 against Pepperdine, Boise State plus 9.5 against Utah State, and Southern Cal against Arizona State plus 3.5. NBA, like the Clippers minus 7.5 against Minnesota, Pelicans plus 2 against Indiana, and the Knicks plus 1 against Detroit.
Rod, you're up.
All right, NHL. I like the Jets in regulation. Give me Boston on the puck line. Nashville on money line over the Oilers. I like the Avs minus 1.5. The Penguins minus 1.5. Washington minus 1.5. Blues on the puck line. Vegas on the puck line. Birdcage and hockey. For me, Washington and the Avs all on the puck line. NBA, I like the Spurs minus 2.5. Bucks minus 9.5. Give me the Raptors. I like the Pelicans plus the points and the Clippers. College hoops. I like the Paul plus 4.5. Give me Michigan State. The next over St. Mary. I like USC plus 4. Mississippi. I like Providence plus 4 over Xavier. I like Kansas minus 7. I like Texas A&M plus 8. My Birdcage in college hoops. Give me USC plus 4, Providence plus 4, and Texas A&M plus 8.
Steve, you're up.
You got it. So for college, Kansas, love that against TCU, lane 7.5. I'll take Auburn at home against LSU, lane 5. I love Michigan State going to Michigan. I think this is where Michigan State starts playing well. Love Kentucky, 2-point favorite at Tennessee. Dayton covering 13 against St. Louis. West Virginia going to Oklahoma, 2.5. I'm going to take Villanova, though. I think Villanova starts playing well. They got crushed last week. I think Seton Hall's playing well, but I'll take Villanova at home. Baylor, lane 12 against Oklahoma State. Love Duke, 7.5 at North Carolina. NBA, the Bucks, lane 9. Raptors, lane 7. And my parlay for the day is Gonzaga, 5.5 against St. Mary's. San Diego State, 12 against Air Force. West Virginia, and Duke.
Okay, this is the part of the show. The dogs are barking. This is part of the show where I grovel for thumbs up. It's not beneath me to beg. Costs you guys nothing. Takes you about a half a second. We got 210 people watching us on YouTube right now, and 81 thumbs up. That's about 30%. We give it 100% effort here at Pick Dogs every single day, and of course here on our live show. So if you can hit the thumbs up, costs you nothing. It's greatly appreciated. I like a 2-team money line parlay, USC and Oregon State, both on the money line to win outright tonight. I like Syracuse against Wake Forest also. We didn't talk about that game, but Wake Forest has been straight garbage on the road. And Syracuse, this is the type of game where they probably light them up pretty good. I'm going to take them in that spot. Other than that, I got tons of video picks out there. I did 25 college basketball video picks. I did NBA video picks on every single game, plus a college basketball parlay, plus all the picks I gave out on the show. You guys got it all. Anyways, this is Mitch. Let me bring back the guys real quick. Boom. Boom, boom. There you go. And now I got the Pick Dogs over my face, but there you go. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks for all of the thumbs up. Thanks for all the support you guys have given us. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time. But I believe on Saturdays, I like the idea of doing 2 shows because this one's just, it's too much, man. Too much information. It's too much hockey. Maybe we should just eliminate hockey from these shows. Let's talk about stories of baseball games I went to 35 years ago instead. It's like, okay. I get it. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks. I enjoyed it, man. I love talking with you guys every day. So, thank you. Bye.
See you guys.